Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this today's topic, I'm about to narrate a person's or a friend's story about how she ended up marrying her nightmare instead of her God-given husband, and how she tended to miss her ordained husband. So if this is your first time tuning into my YouTube channel, please do well to subscribe and give it a thumbs up. And for those that have subscribed, thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate as little as this my channel is. I am after people seeing the impact of my video. So if my video has blessed you in one way or the other, please give me an encouragement comment on the comment section. So let's dive into the story. I'm just narrating. I'm not actually giving you the whole or the full detail on how she made her wrong choice. I know that this message will be encouragement to some ladies out there who are believing in God to bless them with their God ordained husband and God ordained wife as well, because most of the time the enemy fights us not to get to that particular promised land. Sometimes we receive prophecies, we wonder why prophecies are not coming to pass, and we are wondering why God is delaying. Sometimes the enemy is just there monitoring our lives and making us to make wrong choices in our life. So in this video, I'm about to narrate how a lot of people, this might be your story, this might be another person's story, this might be a story that you will end up having issue or end up making mistakes. So when you listen to this video or you listen to what I'm about to say, it will save you a lot from making mistakes, including me here. I listened to her story. It was quite touching and it's overwhelming, although I am not saying in the whole detail actually. So let's dive into the whole story. When I was little, I was still in my secondary school. I used to have this desire to be ordained woman, a pastor or a deacon, that kind of ambition to be someone that leads people to Christ. So in my secondary years, I used to have bad friends, and most of the time I'm a seer. Whenever I dream dreams, I see things. I pray. Whenever I pray, I see things and it comes to pass. So people sometimes uses me, or whenever we go to churches, people put me at the center because they feel I listen and hear from God, and they will ask me, what do I see? What do I know? What do I hear when God speaks? I used to tell them, and then whenever I say whatsoever I say comes to pass. So fast forward, I was now being monitored by my friends, and I happened to be unfortunate to have wrong friends in my life that they were monitoring and fighting me left, right and center, that whenever I pray, I see them appearing in my vision, and to an extent I had to confront some of them to stay away from me, but regardless they are fighting me relentlessly. So as I became so a loner, I don't have a friend, only me and my younger sister, what now happened was I became very selective when it comes to friend. Then here comes this particular person. I see this person, he's my God ordained husband. I have prayed, but it happened that the enemy was outsmarting me, or the enemy has fights his all means to imprison me. So when I met this particular guy, he picked interest in me, but his intention was not an intention to spoil or to deceive me. His intention was he wants to groom me to become that woman he wants. And most of the time he teaches to me about what's the gospel, and he asks me questions in the Bible. I feel challenged. I go in the scripture, search the scripture, come back, and then we have conversation about that. So from that kind of mutual relationship, I tend to develop feelings and likeness for him. And whenever I have or see him around, I have this kind of peace, and I enjoy his company because he say and talk to me like a father. He talks to me like someone I can look up to. So it happened that he is actually exact everything I want in a man. But unfortunately, he was not financially buoyant. In fact, he was actually staying with his family. So whenever he comes close to me, my family, especially my mother, tend to separate him from me. Like, she tends to warn me by giving me eye signals to stay away from him, thinking that his intention coming close to me was to spoil me, but whereas I was actually benefiting from him. So when this guy, most of the time I think about him, and we tend to have this strong bond. The strong bond is not something that I can ever compare in this life. So he himself, I suspected that he also have the same feeling, but because he feels that there must be a confirmation from the spiritual realm before he proceeds in whatsoever he is about to do or he is about to say to me. But regardless, I feel the connection and the consistency and communication was in between us, and I believe and I was also trusting in God. But whosoever I introduce this guy to, especially my family, they tend to kick him out. Fast forward, when I got admission to university, I think we were actually in a communication, but not truly in a communication. And I was at the age at which I feel, okay, I'm ready to get married. And I made this mistake by saying to myself that once I get to my 25 years old or 26 or whatever, I must get married. It doesn't matter whosoever that come my way. I believe that is my right time of getting married. And because of that belief, I tend to believe that anybody that come at that particular time is my ordained husband. So when I was in school, I felt okay, it's time for me to start looking for someone I would take serious. But unfortunately, no man was actually coming except one person. And this particular person, whenever he comes around, I don't have peace. I used to feel this kind of restlessness in me. So I was so worried that I sometimes feel depressed whenever he talks to me. And he's a very nice person, very calm, very nice. He tends to be very nice to my friends because of my friends. Whenever he's coming to visit me in school, he tends to buy me things and give to my friends, my family. He buy for my niece, nephews, all people around me. He tends to bless them one way or the other financially. So most of the time he calls me, even when I was rude to him, he tends to be very calm and nice to me. So when I was done schooling, I was still praying to God concerning that particular issue. So when I broke up with him, I told him that please, I've prayed concerning our marriage or concerning what is going on between us. I discovered that it is not meant to be and I don't have peace in it. So I don't know. So the guy could not take it. He had to go through my family and tell them that I've broken up with him, with all the investments, with all the things he bought for me. So I feel my conscience is being robbed here. I feel guilty that I have led this guy on, but at the end of the day, I am saying no. So my family tend to ask me, what do you want in a man? This guy is handsome, he's tall, he's very cute, he has a very nice business he's doing. Why do you keep on rejecting him when there is no any other person coming forth? So what I did was, and I was introducing them this, or whenever I talk about this particular guy, I know that we are not in communication, but there's this connection I have in the spiritual realm I have with this particular guy. And deep down in my spirit, I feel this guy is meant for me. And I have the belief that one day I will see him and we'll make things right. But then we are not in communication. But I tried to convince my younger sister and telling her that I don't have any feelings for this my guy that is coming to me for marriage, but I have feelings for that other guy. But you know what my family did? My family kicked him out and said he's so stingy and dirty. It doesn't even look like what it is. So I should go for someone that they have seen future with, because this particular one coming for me actually is quite rich and handsome, very tall and everything. So in this particular aspect, I became so worried. I've prayed, I've sought counselings, I've asked questions, and most of the time I'm with this particular husband of mine, my ex, I actually feel this kind of loneliness. I feel like God deserted me. I'm that kind of person that whenever I feel that kind of feeling, I feel vulnerable. I feel like I can be dead at any time because I feel no presence of God is with me. So fast forward, when I was contemplating that what could be, what will I do, what should I do, and I ended up concluding that okay, let me just give it a try with this particular ex of mine. But before that happened, I went to his family in his place. It happened that that other one I loved, I don't know what to call him, I don't want to mention name because of security reasons, that other particular guy actually is also in that same state where I went to visit my future husband family. So when I got there, the guy just called me out of the blue, not knowing that he himself was actually praying to God that, Lord, I need your divine direction to meet my future wife, because as he was at that time, he was now a lecturer. He was actually doing well. So when he called me, I was I was shocked because I didn't expect his call. So I now told him that I am in that particular state you are. He was shocked. He was like, really? That means I'm going to see you then? And it's look as if it's God's time. You understand what I'm saying? So now, when I finally met him, he asked me a question and he was so excited. So when we were talking, he was like, how is it about your spiritual life, your relationship life? And out of sincerity and naivety, I don't know what to call it, I ended up telling him that I already said yes to that particular so guys, he was so pained, and he could not actually assimilate. I was like, why did you pray about it? And as I feel he expected me to be that kind of girl he groomed me to, and I don't want to disappoint him with my response, I ended up saying, I actually prayed, and guys, he felt like, are you sure you confirmed from God? And out of fear, and I don't want him to look at me as the stupid girl that I am, I ended up saying, yes, I saw signs and confirmation. Now he was so disappointed, and we left. But when we left, he was still telling me to pray about it. He now said, well, in front of me, he said, God, let your will be done. And we left. But deep down in my spirit, I know that I love this guy and I want him, and he is the one for me, because things don't happen coincidentally like that. I went home so worried, depressed. I cried my eyes out. So I ended up going back to school wondering. After visiting my future husband's family, and I came back to school because that was during my final year. So when I was about going for my NYSC, I visited my future husband, and I ended up, he engaged me. So I was still not at peace with my spirit, because I was still desperately in need, and my heart was panting for this particular guy. So now the problem here is I cannot have, or I don't have the courage to go back to him, because he's the kind of person that believes in spirituality other than a logical thinking. He's a logical person, but at the same time, he's so much belief in spirituality and also in the will of God. So in this particular aspect, I was scared now to approach him, to tell him that I actually love you, but I can call off this wedding, I can't do anything. I was in a realm, or in the state of confusion, in a state of I feel where I'm going to, there's no destination, but I'm leaving my destination behind me. So because of family pressure and their advices from friends that this particular one I want to get married would be a very nice person, if he can take care of people around me, that means I will be spoiled in the marriage, so I shouldn't have any reasons to worry. So I prayed, and at the end of the day, I received prophecies that he is the one. Another prophecy says that I will die before my time in that marriage. So I became more confused. So I had to blindly just get married to him. Fast forward, when I got married to him, I was pregnant, and it happened that all the chasing, all the struggle, my husband stopped caring about me. I became lost. I was wondering why the sudden change. I asked question. A lot of people were like, these are men for you. Men are like that. Once they are chasing you, they chase you to an extent that once they finally get you, or once they are married to you, they stop pretending. So I now discovered that, so all this while, it was all about pretense to have me. So I felt, okay, fine. If it was pretense, okay. At the end of the day, I discovered that my husband don't even care about me. He doesn't love me. He doesn't show me love, like someone genuine love. Like whenever I'm sick, he can come up and say, like try to get me drugs. How this kind of small petty attention. My husband stopped. I became like an opponent. I became like a competitor. I became like as if he forcefully got married to me without loving me. Like he just forcefully married to me to punish me. So and I was wondering why he did that. So fast forward, I did not bother myself to further know why he's treating me the way he's treating me. So I focused on my spiritual life. But it happened that I was struggling spiritually. Whenever I pray, it looks as if I'm empty. So I now started having strange attacks in my marriage. I gave birth to my first child, but it happened that my husband is not close as his first child is. Even when I get put to bed, my husband was not willing to be there for me when I was in my sick bed. When I was not in my sick bed, when I was in labor, he was busy going, and people were asking him, where are you? But he was like, he's busy in his place of work. And that really struck me. So fast forward to everything, I started receiving some spiritual strange attacks, which most of the time we rented a house that we were at the downstairs, not on the upstairs, that the upstairs was hitting hard sometimes a particular time, let's say by 3 o'clock. Once it's 3 o'clock, it starts hitting. And I tend to try to avoid that, but whenever it hits, it gives me the fear that this particular noise is not normal. So I try to get off my mind from that particular situation. So I started focusing on other things, but sometimes I started having this strange fear and depression. Kill yourself, kill yourself. All of a sudden, attacks from there, here, and there. So, the one that hurts or got to me was due to the loneliness that my husband is not there for me, and I feel lonely. Sometimes when my husband wants to make love to me, he is not romantic. He doesn't see me like human. He just treats me like an object. So I became so worried and lonely in the marriage. So when I was worried, I was actually focused on my child and myself because it's not neither is he does he care for his own blood child. So I felt I'm just sorry guys, I'm just trying to narrate the story so fast. So one night I was in my bedroom. I came out and my child was left in the toilet. I was crying. So I picked my son, and before I could see, I saw a drop of blood from nowhere. But I believe that the drop of blood was coming from the upstairs to the ground. So I was so shocked. When I picked and touched the blood, I discovered that it's real blood, not just a color or a stain. So I saw it at the back of I saw it. I was not scared. I was scared, and I was like, what could this be? You know, in the spiritual realm, your spirit could sense what is wrong. Your spirit could sense that this is absolutely wrong. So what now happened was I picked the baby. I went inside, wondering where that blood could come from. I ignored that. So the next time, I most of the time dream dreams of death. I used to dream dreams of nakedness, in disgrace, and all of that. I was battling with that particular spirit in my life all through the day. In fact, starting from the day I got married to my husband. So what now happened? Fast forward, I literally told my husband about it, and he was like, you don't know what to do, just pray about it, and that's all. So when I ignored those signs, I now focused on my child. The next day I was beating my child, and I discovered that he has the blood at the back of his ear, and I was asking myself, what could this blood be? I checked all over his body. It now happened that he has no any wound or a scratch on his body. I was shocked. At some point, I now started questioning what's going on in the house, coupled with the heating that I normally receive the sound, some strange sounds. Sometimes the door will be banging itself whenever my husband is not at home, and sometimes I might call my husband, can you come home? This is what I'm going through. Sometimes my husband will not even answer me. He will be like, I'm overreacting, and he will leave me there. So I started questioning what's going on. I don't have peace in my life. I pray like I am not praying. So one day I started having this urge to kill myself because I feel this whole thing has no destination. And I'm that kind of person that believe that I don't believe in divorce. I believe in marriage to death. So at some point, I've never believed that such kind of thing would happen to me because I'm that kind of person that preach to people about amending their relationship and marriages. So I don't believe that such thing can happen to me this time around. So this time around, I was actually tolerating my husband, but this time around is something that has to do with the spirituality and my life at stake and my son's life at stake. So when the whole thing was not happening, I actually stopped. I actually told my husband about the blood on his ear. Like, you wash it off and pray over it. That's why we have God. You pray, you go to the church and pray. I have prayed, guys, but it was not working. One day I was just at home. I saw that same sound happen at that particular 3 a.m. in the afternoon, and nobody was at home. The doors were banging each other, and as I was running out with my son, I saw a drop of blood on the floor, and fear gripped me. I could not stay back in the house. I ran outside. I waited and called my husband to come back. My husband said he's on his way coming. I waited for him, but what happened to that baffled me was my husband continued journey. He went back to his activities. When he was coming back was around 10 p.m. and I and my son were still outside at that time. And at some point, I lost my sanity. I started questioning why God allowed me to face all these things in my marriage. So most of the time, I don't go back to my husband's house. I mostly go to a friend's house to stay. Once this evening, I come back. So I see how my friend and her husband are really happy living their life beautifully. But when it comes to mine, I feel like I'm in a prison. So fast forward, when I discovered that this is not normal, because I started telling my husband that let's go for deliverance. My husband will kick out of it and say, Catholic member, you are not supposed to change your denomination. You're supposed to focus on your spiritual and doctrines. So I was like, no, this has gone out of hand. You're not even doing or bringing any solution to it. If that's the case, you are the cause of my problem. So that got a problem between us. So I decided to leave my husband's house and went to my family house. I stayed there. So when the family were asking, why did you come back? What's going on? They never expected to see me so lean. So whenever somebody see me, they know that this person's mental health has been deteriorated. So I now was actually worried. I told them that this is what I've been going through. I told them everything in detail. They were like, this is not normal. So I called the family, his family and my family. They now decided that, okay, we have to state a time when the both of us will go for deliverance. Guys, lo and behold, my husband agreed, but up till date, he has never even made a chance or anything to make an effort for us to go for a deliverance for our family or deliverance of anything at all. He just focused on his life and was just avoiding anything that has to do with me. So in this particular aspect, I'm feeling lost. At some point, I decided that anywhere that it is, I am not going back to that house because my life is at stake. So as it is now, guys, this is the final story. Sorry guys, my memory got full, so I had to delete some things in order for me to make the full video. So what now happened, what I've learned in this particular situation is, let's not rush into things, especially with the young ladies and some guys. And whenever you find yourself in a situation where you love this person and you know that this person is the right person for you, do not allow pride to breach you. Do not allow fear to stop you. Open the door, make this person that you feel is your God ordained husband or wife, tell them that this is what I want. Sometimes you don't have to tell them that God said you are my partner. You just have to play your role, make them know that you are there for them, and you don't have to cut all ties with them just because they are not meeting up with your emotional needs, just because they are not meeting up with whatsoever your expectations are. Most of the time they might be in the wrong relationship, but they are just like a counterfeit. Definitely when they are done with those particular people, they will discover that who was there for me and who is there for me. When they search and discover that you are still there for me, they will fall back in. And I'm not telling you that you should be a second option, but sometimes you can just try as much as you can to take off your emotions from them and also explore other people. So in this particular thing, I've learned not to restrain myself whenever I see someone that I feel is my God ordained husband. And secondly, that the fact they come out very, very rich, they come out like what it looks like, does not mean that they are the right people for you. Sometimes the devil can be so manipulative that whenever he's going on a mission, he doesn't fight, or a thief does not rob a place where he does not find value in. So the devil also send down his people out there to also ruin the lives of people that are going to build the kingdom advancement or the enhancement in this world. So whenever you see yourself in this particular situation, pray, come close to them, be a friend to them, and also believe in God that the fact that they fail doesn't mean that you not still find another love. And to all the Christian and the body of Christ, the fact that, okay, we believe in no divorce does not mean that we should remain in a toxic marriages, does not mean that we should remain in the toxic relationship, does not mean that we should remain in a relationship or marriage that will lead us to hell. Because there are some marriages that will lead us to hell, there are some marriages that will lead us to untimely death, there are some marriages that will make us wayward, there are some marriages that will lead us to things that God did not plan for us in the future. So what I'm trying to make you understand here is, if you're watching this video, I advise that if you have that particular person that your soul and spirit is telling you that this is the person, and you know you have peace in you, and sometimes you shouldn't be so selfish that you will not also understand with their plights that rejection equals to God telling you that they might not be the right person for you. You might be the right person for them, but they might not be the right person for you. So once they reject you, respect their decision and walk away, and also be believing in God's ordained time. There's no time that is too late for a woman to get married. There's no time that is too late for a man to get married. So in this aspect, when you see yourself in a wrong marriage, in a wrong relationship, what do you think you can do? Do you think it's a time for you to divorce, or do you think it's a time for you to separate from these people? So it's actually an overwhelming story that I could not tell in detail, because if I'm to tell in detail, most of you will not wait or have the patience to watch this video. So please, if this video really bless you, I will appreciate you comment, say one or two things you feel your experience are and what you've learned in life, that any other person that come across this video's life will be blessed. So please do well to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It also it blesses me. It makes me or give me the courage to come back here and say some other things. And in my next topic, if actually you want me to talk about the next topic, I'll also talk about someone's life whom her life was she's learned a lot of lessons. And if you also have a story to talk about, or you have something to share with people, you can talk to me. I would want to link up my WhatsApp number. You can chat me up on WhatsApp and talk to me about your spiritual or whatsoever you've experienced in life that I can come out here and talk about. Thank you and God bless you. I love you all for your support, for waiting till this time. God bless you and may you be blessed in Jesus' name. Amen.